Hello everybody, this is Mr. Sharrock and I'm bringing you an episode of Empires of the Undergrowth. Now this is an early access game that I quite enjoy, so I have some time in this game already. But that does not really mean that I'm good at the game. Yeah, so let's just dive into the game. There is some dialogue at the beginning of it.
Ah, I see the Queen has taken well to her new home.
It's fascinating. She has already started to spawn. Incredible, really, that we found such a healthy specimen.
How long until we can expect to see interspecies polymorphism?
We should be patient and allow the colony to grow first. I've placed food nearby. Then we will introduce the Formica fusca and observe their reaction.
Excellent. Keep me updated on their progress.
Alright, now the first thing we need to do is collect the food here. And as you can see, I'm building marking an outline here. This will later become a nesting tile that I will place into the soldier ant that will become unlocked soon-ish. First I am going to build a worker ant.
The Queen has begun to lay new eggs.
Perfect. We will soon have a thriving colony.
Worker ant, what's it called? Nesting area. All these light bulbs here on the right are hints that I have already read, so I'm gonna just click through them, and if you wanna read them, you can pause the video. And now we have opened the outside. Not much up here right now, but we can right click on the ground out here to place down a pheromone marker, which the ants that we have selected in group 1 will then follow. Might delete this just to create a small store room over here, and maybe see if I can enlarge this a little bit, like so. Then we can have a little bit bigger. Nesting area for the worker ants. We don't really need them that much, but it's good to have a few that we can order to fetch food and stuff like that. I'm gonna build this food tile over here, like so. When that's done, I'm going to go into the missions, which will help us advance this Formicarium and give us royal jelly that will help us upgrade these guys. Yeah, so the first missions that we have are these here. They are quite simple, and then we have these gateway missions, which will test the Formicarium and test our readiness for the upcoming challenges. So first thing we're gonna do the first one on a medium difficulty. I'm thinking I will... Oh, there's dialogue here.
This for me.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it a bit. The game pauses when you click the hints. I'm thinking I'm gonna do like one challenge each video, so then I have 6 videos ish. 6. Yeah, because the Formicarium challenges don't take that long, but these can take up to an hour, half an hour, something like that. So depending on how fast you're going through them and stuff like that.
Formika Fusca Queen has set up home beneath a rotting log. She is fat and vulnerable. Her first brood will need to move quickly if the colony is to survive. Their priority now is to find food, and there is plenty around. But there are other hungry creatures down here. The workers will need to be vigilant. The ants have encountered a pocket of woodworm. These defenseless weevil larvae will make an excellent meal for the colony. They will be butchered and carried off for processing.
Now, I have entirely forgotten what I was going to say. Yeah, on medium difficulty these aren't that challenging, but on the harder difficulties they become quite difficult to manage. So I'm just for the sake of my sanity, I'm going to try to do most of them in medium. You need the worker ants to move the eggs to these tiles and to build them. So having them in the groups here, the only worker ants that you have in this group, is not a good idea. Well, it's a good idea at the beginning because, well, you don't really have anything else. So our mission for this is to kill all nearby creatures, which would indicate these here. These are probably, well, these are larvae and something called the Devil's Coach Horse, which, if I'm honest, is a terrifying name for an insect that is basically a beetle.
The workers have uncovered carnivorous larvae of Ocypus olens, the Devil's Coach Horse.
Yeah.
They are born ready for combat, with powerful slicing mandibles for chopping up their prey. They are still small, however, and must undergo a final pupation before their armor is fully developed. If the ants are fast, they should be able to overwhelm these critters.
Ocypus olens.
If the ants had disturbed the adult of these larvae, the outcome for the colony may not have been so fortunate. They must expand with caution.
Basically what he is telling us is that there are these small fuckers and then there are the grown-ups around here. Me having already played this level quite a few times, I know that the grown-ups are only here in this, in the medium one, and the hard one.
Predators are loose in the nest.
They
The larvae
are
must be protected.
and here, and I do suspect that in the insane one they are everywhere, because yeah, I haven't tried that one because beating the hard one was difficult now.
This colony must
enough.
remain small for now. Food is too scarce to support greater numbers.
And he says that every time I click and don't have the food. Well, pretty much every time. Doesn't matter if it's a food tile or if it's a brute hex or something. Oh yeah, and you want the chamber to be in a hexagonal form like this because it helps you with the upgrading. And you want your exits to these chambers to be at the top and or at the corners, just for
Predators are loose in the nest. The larvae must be protected.
just so that the
colony is starving. There is not enough food to feed the new brood.
so that you can place something here and then it's like there's still a wall there, like this speed tile.
These wood lice will make a significant addition to the colony's larders, but they are clinging tightly to the ground. It's going to take some effort to dislodge them.
Which makes it so that the tile here can be upgraded to full. If there's nothing here, it can't be upgraded to full, and if this one is missing, then this one and this one can be upgraded to full. So you want to limit the entrances and exits of the chambers. And again, clicking this so you can read it, because I have already read this and played through this level quite a few times when I was farming up resources for the final test, which is quite difficult. The test, that is, not the farming. It's just a bit tedious. So you can see here this ant here only has one tick, which means he is level 1. And then there's another one here who is bigger, has 2 ticks, means he's level
Predators
2.
are loose in the nest.
And
The larvae must be protected.
if I upgrade this one,
This colony must remain small for now. Food
the
is too
circle around
scarce to
this
support greater numbers.
hex here, I can upgrade that one to level 3, which makes the soldier ant quite a lot stronger, and makes it so that he is harder to kill and stuff like that. So I'm going through everything here at the bottom. So the next step is to take out these fuckers here. And I have to upgrade, because otherwise my ants won't collect any more food. Which means that the thing will stagnate, and luckily you don't spend any food feeding the ants like you would
Predators
do
are loose in the nest.
in
The
an
larvae
actual
must
hive.
be protected.
But I mean, yeah, you don't have any renewable resources either. So. Now a bunch of my ants are dying. That's the only time you will lose food without building anything, if you are spawning ants. So I guess you could count that as feeding the ants. There we go. And this here, because it doesn't have a red exclamation, is probably wood lice. Well, probably is. definitely be with larva, not with lice. Yeah, the red exclamation obviously signals enemies. Doesn't really signal you like what enemy, but tells you, hey, bad stuff. So we collect all this stuff, all this food. If you want to learn more about ants, I recommend a channel called Ants Canada. They are... well, the guy who has that channel has, by this point, probably 9 or 10 ant farms in one of his rooms. At the time of this recording, he lives in the Philippines, which means he has access to a few species. Fire
Predators are
ants,
loose in the nest. The
I
larvae
think
must be protected.
beavers, pharaoh ants and stuff like that. Me
This
living in
colony must
Iceland,
remain
I
small for now. Food is
don't
too
really
scarce to
have
support
access to
greater numbers.
any ants. My wife would probably kill me if I would try to keep them. Although I don't mind ants. As far as insects go, they are not that horrifying compared to others that I have had to deal with, which aren't a lot here in Iceland. When we have bees and stuff like that, but really we don't really have anything dangerous. I think the most dangerous insect we have are ticks. Stuff that burrows under your skin and starts drinking your blood. And that's just a recent immigration thing. Started here maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Not much longer than that, I think. And then we go through here. Well, here or here, doesn't really matter.
There are intruders in the nest.
Normally I would really wait for this, but right now I don't really need the food.
The workers have done all they can to prepare this brood chamber.
The only really dangerous one is this one, so before this one I will have the ants finish this
There are intruders in the nest.
and this. Music in this game is amazing, by the way. doesn't really matter how long I listen to it. I really don't get bored of it like in many other games. Oh yeah, and this game is early access, so it's still being worked on quite heavily. Every now and then they put out a new update, and there's always a bunch of content in them. Right now I have started another hex over here, so the ants from that hex will be on number 2 for now. Just so that I can send them over here to finish picking up the food over there. Now I can send number 1 over there, and then I can just put them in the same one and delete the pheromone marker for number 2. So now we have all the food from over there, and so we are going to enter this section, which is quite a lot more dangerous than any other section we have gone into, for the simple reason of it having a full-grown Devil's Coat source.
Predators are loose in the nest.
This guy.
The larvae must be protected. The ants have stumbled into the path of a fully developed Devil's Coach horse beetle, and it's hungry for breakfast. The beetle is almost 4 times the size of a black ant, and protected by thick plates of external armor. Whilst it bites at the tiny defenders, it sprays foul-smelling secretions from the end of its raised abdomen, disorientating the ants. The Devil's Coach horse is dead. Its corpse will provide food to support dozens of new brood.
Yeah. Now, it didn't really spray that time, but the disorientation thing is, well, it can be really painful, especially if it has larvae around it. But for that fight,
There are
didn't
intruders in the nest.
really spray, so it wasn't really an issue. Yeah, see, there are 2 of them, and the spray they are putting out is making it so the soldier ants are walking away, which means they are not damaging it, and it can
The colony is starving. There is not enough
bite
food to
them,
feed the new brood.
just like without being harassed or damaged. But we should have this, like, no problem. Right, now we get an exit.
This Formica fusca colony has now established itself as a rising power in the undergrowth. Soon their territory will need to expand above ground, where new challenges await. For the time being, however, the Queen is safe.
Yeah. Like, this game is quite amazing, like, in my opinion. And I've been playing it for, like, on and off for a few years now.
Is it feeding time already?
Yes, our queen is insatiable.
Now they dropped some food on the surface. We're going to send ants over here to fetch the larva, live prey, and we are going to build this hex here. This hex there is going to become the soldier ant. We do not have the 75 royal jelly needed, so that's gonna have to wait until next time. But we're gonna finish up this episode by finishing digging out and building the what's it called? Worker ant axe. And oh, it didn't expect me to excavate the surface entrance yet. Alright, I usually start with that, but okay. So right, basically the ants are gonna be walking up here, fetching food, and putting down the worker tiles, like so. So, before the next episode, since I have already managed to put down all the worker tiles, I'll have to extend the food chamber. That's what it looks like, because we got some 2,000 units of food or something. I'm gonna upgrade this a bunch. Oh yeah, you can upgrade all the tiles, like you can upgrade the food tile, you can upgrade the speed tile, you can upgrade workers and all that. So now we can support 700, 870, 930. We've done a food tile over here too. Then we can upgrade this guy and this guy. Oh yeah, and this guy and this guy. So now we can support 1390 food. So this is gonna be it for this episode, and I will see you in the next one, where we will continue our way through this challenge here and take on the Formicarium challenge. Alright, see you then.